Welcome back to Batman No Man's Land right here at the Comicstorian channel. My name is Benny and I'll be your narrator for this chapter of our story. Batman No Man's Land is a storyline that came out around the late 90s, and it was about Gotham City being separated from the rest of the United States because of an earthquake. As they could not get police forces or a National Guard into Gotham City, the villains all sectioned it off, turning it into basically an area where gangs controlled sections of Gotham, very much like that original video game, Arkham City. It is then broken up into a series of short stories as individuals attempted to survive in this broken city. And today we're going to be telling you the story of Ghosts, another one featuring Azrael, one of the friends of Batman during this time period that has been lost in the city. If you enjoy this, give this video a like. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel as we bring you Batman No Man's Land stories every Sunday right here, eventually creating one giant playlist. As the moon hangs over Dr. Leslie Tompkins' clinic, a shadow is looming over some looters stealing supplies. Azrael tells them that they don't want to do this, but one of the looters says that they've got to. So Azrael steps forward, stating that the people in this hospital depend on the things that they're taking more than they do. They're sick and they're dying. The looters tell him tough luck. They gotta survive too, not get out of the way. So Azrael puts on his mask, telling them no. As the men charge at him, Azrael asks himself, who were these men before they found themselves in this cruel place? Criminals, muggers, perhaps thieves, or even murderers? Or were they just ordinary citizens, lawyers, grocers, plumbers, clergymen, husbands, brothers, loving fathers, or good friends, perhaps? Maybe all of the above. But what are they now? What have they been forced to become? A twisted combination of desperation and hunger. Less than animals, because animals would never have illusions. They imagine themselves victimizers. But can they possibly realize the truth that they themselves are victims? As the last man falls, Azrael stands tall in another triumph. Another glorious triumph. Hooray. But with another victory under his belt, Azrael returns to Leslie Tompkins, telling her that he has failed yet again. She asks, what did he do? Did he beat the tar out of another person? And Azrael says that it was three someones and they were trying to steal blankets. He may have hurt one of them badly. They might come here asking for help. She tells him that she'll help them, of course. But how long has it been since he has even slept? He rubs his head, telling her 3 days. He's not really sure, maybe 4. Why does this always happen? Why does he always resolve matters with his fists? Leslie puts her hand on his shoulder, telling him that perhaps it's because that's all he knows. He will have to learn another way to relate to these problems, though. And maybe, for the good of his own soul, he may want to go someplace where there isn't such a demand for his peculiar talents. His salvation may even depend on it. Azrael asks, wouldn't she need him to protect the clinic? And she tells him that he should know the answer to that, but for now, he must rest, at least an hour or two. He must be kind to himself before he can truly be kind to the others. So a short while later, Azrael finds himself wandering the streets looking for an answer. Should he stay or should he go? And that's when a shadow darts by in the distance. He runs, tackling the person to the ground, and when he looks at the person, he realizes who it is. The young woman, Mitzi, that he helped in the past. And he asks her, what was that for? He quickly helps her up, stating that he thought that she was someone trying to take something from the hospital. Why is she running? She explains that she was running because she thought she saw her Uncle Jerry. Her uncle did some bad things, but, well, he isn't alive anymore. And not that she believes in ghosts or anything, but tonight, something's, well, it's different now. Azrael asks where her mother is, and Mitzi points out, telling him that that is why she was out. Her mother wandered off to the Gotham City Gas Company. Azrael knows his body is quickly fading and that he should get some sleep, but you know what? Another few moments won't matter, will it? He walks towards the dilapidated building, with a scavenger stating that he really shouldn't go any further inside. It's dangerous in there. He asks if the scavenger saw a woman pass by, and the scavenger says that he did, ran right into the gasworks. So Azrael turns to leave, but the scavenger stops him, stating that he can't go in. He'll get himself blown to bits. There's pockets of gas trapped in underground pipes, and every so often one of them blows up. Azrael asks why he didn't stop the woman from entering, and the scavenger tells him because she had a look in her eyes, like a demon was chasing her. Kept calling him Jerry, and he ain't about to mess with someone who's out of their mind. Despite the scavenger's warnings, Azrael decides to proceed, and he calls out to Mrs. Ferdang, asking if she's there, but he also gets no answer. So he continues in when there's a pop and an explosion that goes off. Inside that fire, a large figure appears, telling Azrael that the time has turned on its axis and the barriers have fallen. Heaven has kissed hell, and hell has kissed heaven, and the both have come to embrace Earth. He must open up his eyes and bear witness to the truth. Azrael asks him who he is, and the figure says that he is the Saint Dumas, the founder of the order by which he bears his name. The order that has trained Azrael and his father and all of his male ancestors for 6 centuries in the arts of terror and assassination. There are so many souls that must be punished. Biss, brother Rollo, and even the harlot Lily. And let us not forget the Batman Azrael. There is a lot to be angry about and a lot of people to deal with. Want to kill those that still live, slowly and painfully? Can't decide? Well, there's plenty of time for that later, but for now, we must leave this wretched island. Remember what the old woman said, for the good of your soul. In fact, just south of Dixon Docks is a little cove, shallow water, and there's a boat weighed down by concrete blocks. You could use that to leave. Azrael opens up his eyes, stating that there's one problem with that plan. This isn't real. I was starving and exhausted and in shock and hallucinating. St. Dumas tells him, you can believe that if you want, but look for the boat. And by the way, the woman you are searching for is hiding along the east wall. As St. Dumas fades away, Azrael picks himself up and he asks how long he was out for. Who knows? He must find Miss Verdang. To humor himself, he goes along the east wall, and sure enough, she is there. So if St. Dumas was real, perhaps the boat is too. He heads a bit south of the Dixon Docks, jumping into the water. After a little bit of swimming, he sees it, a boat weighed down by concrete bricks. And once he removes them, the small rowboat floats to the top, with Azrael getting inside. He could walk away from no man's land. He could walk away from the terrors and the obligations. He could step back into the world, but something nags him. Faintly at first, but ever more insistently. He looks back to the Dixon Docks, calling out for Mitzi and her mother. He tells her that she should have no problem getting across. Just try and steer a bit and let the current carry you guys away from here. She says that she hopes that they can meet again, but before they go on this boat, she has one last favor to ask. She wants to see the face of the man that is giving them freedom, that is sending them away from Gotham City. Please remove your mask. Mitzi kisses Azrael on the cheek and then helps her mother into the boat, and they row off into the night, free of this treacherous city. There's a large thunk as a small chest of jewels and money is set on the table, and a man says that he needs a way out. All of this is theirs if they can make it happen. Phantom Gang leader Shank kicks his feet onto the table asking if that's everything. Well, that'll work. We got ourselves a deal. The man jumps up asking, really? Thank you! Shank waves his arm stating, yeah. Show this man the exit, guys. Shank's goons walk the man to the dark door. And the man asks if he's gonna need a flashlight or something. One of the goons opens up the door, kicking the man in, stating, you ain't gonna need one, bon voyage! The man tumbles down the stairs asking, which way am I supposed to go? But as he gets up, he walks around, tripping over a pile of bones, and he hears a faint sound. He looks up to see a dozen cannibals surrounding him, and as he realizes what's about to happen, all he can say is, oh, man. Back up in the vault, Shank's girlfriend, Delphine, asks if he got another sucker. Shank tells her, yeah, this one paid large. He wanted to get out of Gotham, and now he's out. All this money may be useless now, but once this whole thing blows over, we're gonna be rich. Later, the next person comes in and Shank inspects the diamond, stating that it's a nice size. He'll give an open jar of peanut butter for it. The old woman tells him that he's a bandit for doing this, and after that, another man walks up stating that he's heard that someone could get a one-way ticket out of the city. Shank asks, who's asking? And the well-dressed man responds with, Matches. Matches Malone. Matches throws a stack of money on the table asking if that'll be enough, but Shank notices the gun on Matches' hip, and he says that he likes the piece. Delphine takes the gun and Matches tells him that it's 24 karat gold inlay and ivory handles. Shank takes the gun and says that this just bumped him up to first class, and you won't be needing this on the other side. As the goons walk Matches down, he asks, why don't you leave this place? The men say that Shank has long-term plans here. Once the door opens, Matches tells the men, I'll raise a cold one to you. And as the men tell him sure he will, they push him down the stairs. Matches tumbles down like the other man before, but when he hears the shuffling in the distance, he stands up telling the cannibals, I can help you. I can get you out of here. The cannibals all lunge grabbing Matches, but Matches manages to knock them all away and escape. Up ahead a bit, he turns back, throwing small canisters of smoke to hide himself, but the cannibals rush at him, knocking him over a ledge. As they all inch closer to the ledge, they all look down, and Matches sheds his disguise, and Batman jumps out yelling, I can help you! The cannibals all scream, shouting, monster! And they begin to run away. Meanwhile, outside, a loud clang, clang, clang can be heard echoing throughout the hideout. Delphine follows the sounds to the exit door, hearing a faint hissing sound. She watches it and suddenly the handle melts and it falls to the ground. Shank appears from behind her asking, "What's got you all frightened?" And she squeals, "Him!" Batman charges at Shank and the group, and as Shank takes out the decorative gun, he pulls the trigger. The gun pops, falling apart, and Batman tackles into the men, fighting off the ones that are left standing. The cannibals start to come out of the dark, and Batman tells them, "You're free, just as I promised. No more killing. It's over now." And as Gordon and the Blue Boys arrest Shank, Shank yells, "I was selling people to dreams! They wanted out! I showed them out!" But for Delphine, she's left to fend for herself, trying to sell off the money and jewelry for a loaf of bread. And that concludes another chapter of the No Man Land saga right here at Comicstorian. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we do these videos every Sunday for you right here. And you can also find us over on Twitter at Comicstorian. Thank you guys for your time, and I'll see you next week right here.